Hello, and welcome to this session on Grow Your Career Beyond Your Job Title. I'm Vaishali Jadhav, a Senior Executive Facilitator at Procore Technologies, and I am thrilled to bring this session with you today. In this session, you'll hear from two industry veterans who've held a variety of positions throughout their careers and have mastered how to advocate for their career development. They will share their tried and true tactics for learning as much as possible for each role and how that has directly related to developing their careers. So with that, I'd love to introduce our guests today. We have Sandra and David. We're going to hear a lot about your careers, but we'd love to first have you both introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about where you are today. So Sandra, we'd love to have you start us off.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Sandra Benson. I actually have a new job that I just started this week, and it's Global Head of Industry Transformation for Procore. So happy to be here.
Hi, welcome. Thanks for having us. David Swikowski with Starwood Capital Group. I'm the Vice President and Head of Construction for the US, and I've been with Starwood for about 3 years now and responsible for the project management success of all of our assets under development throughout the country.
Excellent. So really delighted to get in and hear more specifics around your career development. But first, I'd love to set the stage about what do we mean by career development. So in career development, it's really that practice of scanning the environment, whether it's scanning your team, the organization, even the larger industry, and trying to determine roles or positions or projects that may fit to your talents, strengths, or immediate interests. So by scanning that environment, you can get clarity on where you want to develop your skills, what kind of projects you'd like to be on, and even source mentors that can help you along the way. So those are some ways that we think about career development at Procore. But Sandra, I'd love for you to start us off. Tell us a little bit about what your career development experience has been and what are some best practices you've experienced?
Well, my career has been very long and somewhat zigzag, I guess I would say. I started off in engineering thinking that was what I wanted to do, and that was great. And then I got drug into a software implementation at the engineering company that I work for. I found that fascinating. So then I wanted to understand how finance and project costing went together. So went back, got my MBA, then was more into finance and admin for engineering construction. And then started working for a software company back in the day called JD Edwards, and loved it, loved working with different customers and helping them. I kept thinking I needed to go the linear path. So I wanted, so I went from a, project manager to a director to a vice president. And then I thought I wanted to see in front of my title. And I'm not sure why, but I thought that's what I needed. So I went to work for a very, very large engineering and EPC, basically, called S&C Lavalin, and was CIO. And that was great. Did that for a few years, traveled all over the world, Middle East a lot, and really enjoyed that. But after a few years, found that I was bored again. Because it was great working with just one customer, but I miss working with the others. So so this is where I took a step backwards, actually, and went back into software, but at a director level. So I had gone up the scale and then somewhat down in order to get back to where I wanted to be. So to make a longer story, even as short as I can, then Amazon found me, and it was great. And I was their worldwide head of engineering, construction, and real estate. Did that for a few years, loved that. But just recently, when I was named to the NIBS board, and that was a conflict with AWS as far as being on the board of directors. So I came to Procore. Procore I've worked with for a very long time, and I'm really excited about my new role, even though it's only my third day here. But I'm loving working just with construction, with a company that just focuses on construction. So long story, but that's it. So the things I've learned is you don't always have to go it doesn't always have to go straight. You can just follow your path and it winds around. I don't think it's always straight up. And I'm not sure that what you thought you wanted to do when you went into college is where you end up.
Excellent. We'll definitely get into more details around this, but I love the advice around not being tied to a linear path and being open. So really appreciate those themes, and we'll get into some specifics as well. So David, would love to hear about you. What has your career development looked like, and what are some lessons you've learned along the way?
Yeah, well, I'll second Sandra's experience in terms of a career going zigzag. It's a great visualization of representative of how my career has gone as well, but I think you'll find that a lot of people have that same experience. So I began my journey studying architecture in school, and quickly realized that although I like design, I really had the affinity to just get into the problem solving in the built environment, and enjoyed the process of building more. So I jumped right into construction out of schooling, and started it with a large national general contractor, rolling through several different roles in different types of projects, different types of assets. So senior living, aviation, rolled into the office, did hard bid and pre-construction, biz dev. So, got a lot of variety of experience there to try and get a handle on what I really enjoyed the most about it, and understanding a little bit more about different avenues that the business takes to be successful. And then I kind of took that after getting that experience, and I said, I'd like to get my MBA. I went and got my MBA, focused on more of the financial side of things, the diversity of kind of the owner's rep and lending side of things. So understanding how the deals get put together, and moved more into an owner's rep role, oddly enough, in the biotech industry, which gave me, again, a different asset skill set, different understanding of how things are being built and why. And then I transitioned from there back into multifamily in the construction world, working for an owner builder and a large multifamily, national multifamily builder. And that gave me, again, a different perspective. They've done it on a national scale. They're learning to do different things in the industry and how they're kind of doing best practices and rolling that out. And I was able to help build the general contracting division for an owner builder, up to several projects within the division. And so that, again, building the company side of it, or building up the teams of that, was really kind of what I started to enjoy a lot more, is understanding on how people come together to build a team, to build a project, to build a company. And then I moved on to Starwood, and I've done some similar things, kind of relying on a lot of those different lessons learned and experiences that I had on a more national level, extrapolating that to be successful at Starwood and being able to see multiple of assets and across the country. So working with different unique teams, regional developers, regional contractors across the country, and being able to utilize what I'm learning from one project and putting that on, and lessons learned from that to another project. And so, getting that kind of exposure is very helpful. And I think I've really enjoyed my kind of varied experience, right? It definitely gives you a different perspective on everything. And then, I think that helps attribute to the success in terms of being able to see things from a different lens, seeing things from the design side, the construction side, the owner side, the finance side, knowing how all those parts come together to be, a project that's successful, that gets built. You have to understand where all those key stakeholders, where they hold value, what they hold dear to their heart, what their passion is. An architect loves the design of the building, the contractor wants to build this thing and be successful, get in, build that thing with least amount of problems or rework. And the owner wants to see a beautiful building that they're able to utilize in the end. So the understanding of the key stakeholders is really critical to kind of getting the bigger picture of what's going on and why. And understanding the motivation of those people helps you kind of be a better person in whatever role you're in that ecosystem. So I think that's been an exciting challenge to kind of understand different elements, I like to say, sitting on the other side of the table, right? Everyone sits around that table at some point in the project. If you sat in all those chairs, or at least understand how those people are looking at the project, it helps you relate to them a little bit more, helps you understand where they're coming from.
Excellent. Really appreciate that framing around a variety of people sitting around a table, right? And what are you doing to cultivate that empathy for where they're coming from, even getting that knowledge? And so really appreciate that kind of stakeholder mindset, and that specific example around how that stakeholder mindset has helped you guide, where you want to learn, even positions that you've taken. David, I'd also love for you to expand a little bit on the role of technology and how is that helping you either you do more efficiently, or how has the uptick of technology guided where to focus your learning and your attention?
Yeah, I think, technology obviously has been going on in every industry thus far, right? And construction is certainly at kind of the precipice of that, kind of going into the deep end of where technology can take us. And so we've got a lot of things that a lot of people are trying different technologies out on a daily basis. And so, my role right now is to really understand what's available, what's out there to solve certain problems. But there's 2 or 3 or 4 or more different options out there, and really kind of discerning what is more applicable to what I have a challenge with, and how is that going to better suit me, piloting them, understanding how they operate, and seeing if that is in fact useful and actually being more efficient or effective in the projects that we're working on. And the biggest part of that is being able to leverage that technology. We have a lot of work on our plates. Everyone's busy. We all need to be the most effective as possible, and using technology to be more present in projects that I would not necessarily be. So, sitting here in Atlanta, being able to look at a project through OpenSpace, which is a technology that does 360 captures, right? So I'm able to see projects in San Francisco, in Hawaii, and in Miami that I would have to travel several hours by plane to go there and take days out of my schedule to be present on that job site and see what's going on. So, just being able to leverage some of that technology in a way that, wasn't available to us earlier before, this technology came to play. So I've been able to, see more things, do more things, be more involved. That wasn't the case before. And so understanding it, you have to be aware that it's out there, and then have to make sure that you pick one of the best ones, or one of the ones that you think works best for your situation, right? There's dozens of platforms out there. What one is suited for you? And I think the biggest part of that is being excited and willing to learn about the technologies out there, right? There's a lot out there. It can be very overwhelming, but you have to be able to, be willing to learn about them, be willing to try them out. I've tried dozens that don't work, that don't fit my needs. That's fine. But there are plenty out there that are serving your needs, or can serve your needs, that you need to go out there and explore and find, and then trial them, see how they work, and see if they can work for what you're trying to do in your situation. And I think that's critical in this day and age, where we're all trying to get more work done. And how can you do that?
Yeah. Absolutely. Going to continue to go back to this theme that you all are clarifying for us around being curious, being open, and not being tied to just maybe one path and even one way of doing things, one process of doing things. Speaking of learning and continuous learning, Sandra, would love for you to, you spoke at a high level about the zigs and zags, but at every zig and zag, how did you navigate those? Or did you have some undercurrents or support around those zigs and zags to help you understand where to go, which path to take?
I was curious, and then I would feel a passion for it. Was this something I was interested in? I thought I wanted to be an engineer. I am, but it really wasn't once I got into it, it really wasn't what fueled me. Once I got involved into how do projects fit together, and how's the cost and the schedule and the quality and all those things, thought that's really that was a passion for me. And then technology, of course, as David mentioned, the other thing I think that I had to get over was fear of technology. And I say that in that, I came from the world where AS400s, believe it or not, way back then. And client server came along, and I thought, oh, that's it. I'm going to have to retire. There's no way I'm going to make that. And every single time I've just had to kind of get over that fear, and also recognize that I don't have to know everything. I need to surround myself with people who are very, very technical. Doesn't mean I don't need to have a technical understanding. I do. But you can't be everything, and you can't know everything. And so one of the lessons I learned a very long time ago from actually who was the founder of JD Edwards back many years ago, by a man by the name of Ed McVaney. And he always talked about, you don't hire someone or add someone to your team that is just like you. That doesn't make any sense. You want to bring someone onto your team that that brings a different skill set and maybe complements you, but is not a duplicate of you. Overseeing a huge group is great. But every once in a while, like where I'm at now, I love what I'm doing here. Because what I'm going to be doing with Procore is working with our customers and our partners and industry. And I'm fine. I don't want to, at this point in my career, I don't want to be responsible for 300 people. I really just want to be responsible for me and what I'm doing. And I guess you call that a single performer or something like that. But I don't think you have that whole triangle. I don't need to do that. I've already been there, done that. That's a t-shirt. So.
Excellent. Got the t-shirt, got the postcard. Excellent.
That's right. Yes.
Thank you for that. David, how could a nonlinear career path bring value to the company? How have you seen that nonlinear bring value to?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, I think that speaks to both Sandra and I, our career paths, right? It's just allowing you to have different perspectives. If you've gone, the linear path, let's say in construction, right? Project engineer, APM, project manager, that's a process, and it's highly based on experience and skill set that's driven that success, right? But if all you've done is that same set of path that everyone else has, the unique perspectives or different skill sets that you could bring to the table may be lacking, or you could support or bolster your career by having, let's say, some pre-construction or estimating experience, or something like a financial background that kind of feeds into other elements that are very critical and important to the project management. And then you work to fill in those gaps that you might have in other respects. And so some things can be learned, and some things are just gaps that have to be over time developed and experienced. And so I think one of the other bigger challenges to that is, through that linear process, right? Once you're in the field for several years, you're managing things along the project. You might be managing the project team, going PM, senior PM. Once you get to that project executive level or director level, whatever it may be in your organization, right? You've got the skill set necessary to be successful in those roles shifts. It's more people skills, soft skills, things that you didn't spend the last 10, 15 years learning and perfecting and mastering. You were master of the project. Now you're master of people, and they're the ones that are managing the project. And so you have to be able to be flexible and shift dynamic to the role that you're looking to achieve, right? If that's the role you want to do, or that's the next thing that you plan on taking on and want to try out, you have to know what the requirements are. What does successful mean in that role? And then work towards that. And some things are inherent, and some things take time to practice and get better at. But those are things that you really have to understand, that you may have been, happy and enjoyed your role as let's say project manager or something like that, and enjoyed the nuts and bolts, the details of the project. Maybe the next step, on the society's next step, or the career path's next step, is to be that executive, but that's not necessarily suited to what you enjoy doing. Then don't cede to the mantra that you need to move up and do that. Be really good at what you're doing. Teach others how to be really good at what you're doing, right? There's that inherent understanding of what you enjoy and what you want to do, and let everything else fall to the wayside. And so going back to your original question, which is, how does the path that, gets us there bring success? And that's, again, trying different things. Maybe I want to try that, see if I'm good at it, see if I really enjoy it. If I don't be afraid to step back down or move into a different role. Try going into the office, try coming back into the field, try a different role that has nothing to do with, go try quality control, go try procurement, things like that just diversify your experience and your skill sets. That gives you better aptitude to take on the next role or attack a different problem that you might experience in the future, right? You don't know what you're going to leverage off of your experience in the past until you're fronted with a problem that you're like, hey, I've already experienced this. I know what to do here because I dealt with this day in and day out for 6 months. And that, for fear of looking like you're hopping around, which, if you ever talk to a recruiter, talk to anyone that looks at your resume and says, oh, you've jumped around too much. If you're doing it with the intent not to just hop for money or hop for title, but you're doing it with the intent of exploring and understanding what you want to do and driving towards something that excites you and you want to try something out, more power to you. You should. And that's where I think people get hung up on what somebody says or a soundbite that somebody has about where they should be, what they should be doing. and really listen into yourself and what you're really excited about, what your passions are, and drive towards that.
Yes. Really appreciate that level of clarity and that invitation, right? To be more curious, to be more open, not letting fear holding you back. And the importance too, I appreciated the nod too of you not having to know everything, right? Surrounding yourselves with people who may know more than you, creating space to learn from them, but also taking space to contribute what you've learned in those environments as well. So excellent. Love that the specificity that you're bringing to your answers, both of you. So appreciate that. So would love to pivot to our next topic around this navigation of purpose and paycheck, right? If you think about where the industry is going, the workforce of today, it's dramatically different than it was maybe 10, 15, maybe even 5 years ago, right? People today want more than anything to know that their work makes a difference, to know that they're making an impact. So how can employees serve that purpose, right? Make that impact while also identifying the best role for them? Sandra, what have you seen?
Well, I have seen the pivot and I think it's great. So make sure that if you're with a company, I mean, you always want to give a company a chance, right? But if you're in a company, and I have been in several where it really wasn't a cultural fit. And I thought, well, but I've got a really good job, got a great title, and making a lot of money. This is all great, but I'm not feeling good. And I think you give it time, but if for some reason it just doesn't feel right, it's time to look for something else. And I think I can say this again, it somewhat goes back to the fear side again. There's every single time I've made a change in my career, there's always been that little bit of fear, like, well, gosh, I don't know if this is the right thing or not. But I can absolutely say in my 25 plus years in construction that every single job change I have made has been for the betterment. That has always been better for me, whether there are times it wasn't more money or it wasn't a higher title, but I felt valued. And I think that's what I hope to see more and more companies embrace that, because I think the people are pushing for that now. That's a big shift from, say, our parents or grandparents' lifestyle.
Yes, I appreciate that, right? So a company can make you feel valued, but also your teammates can also make sure to know that you're making an impact and share that and make you feel valued as well. Mm-hmm. So it's an entire community effort there. So thank you for that. David, what have you noticed about this balance?
I think there's a lot of truth to what Sandra says, and I would sum, my experience and what I would recommend to people is just being true to yourself, right? So again, if you get into that situation where you're finding something that's not necessarily fitting in whatever aspect, right? Take what you've learned from that, use it as an experience, understanding more, let's say in a negative way, understanding what doesn't work for you and making sure that the next career opportunity does fit you in that way. And so that you're, again, as you're feeling it out, as you're sorting things out, you're getting better every time and using it as improvements, right? It's not a failure unless you give up. Get out of your shell, get out of that fear Sandra was talking about, and just try something and see how it sits. And I think that's, again, trying things is probably an important thing. Learning from those experiences is helpful.
Experimenting. Yes. It starts with you at the individual level, right? Taking that time to really self-assess where are my passions? What are my strengths? Where are my talents? And then what are those various paths that may help ignite those and activate those? So yeah, absolutely. It starts with you. So team, we are at our final question today. And so as we end our time, we want to learn from you. Where are you excited to grow your career? What are you looking forward to? What's a skill that you want to develop, or maybe a type of work or project that you want to do as you think about cultivating your skills for the construction industry of the future? So David, I'd love to start with you.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on a little bit, but the fact that construction tech is prop tech in general is just exploding at this point. So it's very exciting to see where things are being taken with that. I mean, there's opportunities that arise every single day. And while it's a little overwhelming to kind of see the array of things out there, the different companies trying to tackle different problems, it's exciting because, at some point they latch on, they take off, and we're able to be more successful. So part of my role is to really understand what's out there and how that can better suit our company and what we're able to do. The other part of it is kind of what we've been talking about all this whole session here, which is building into people, right? As I grow, as everyone in the organization grows, and we're responsible for the culture and the attitude that we bring. And so, really diving in and making the work environment a better place, making sure that everyone's happy and enjoying the work that they do, right? Finding the passion. If it's not here, then it's somewhere else. I want people to enjoy what they do. And I think very commonly people just want to be successful. And what does that mean? It means different things for everyone. But at the same time, if you are passionate about coming to work every day, if you enjoy what you're doing, it makes it easy. It makes it enjoyable. You're having fun while you're doing work, and working with the people that you enjoy being around makes it even easier to do that. So, I'm charged with doing that. I want to make sure that people around me are doing that, and I'm happy to bring into that. And I know Procore does the Procore Academy, which I've attended. It's a great outlet to understand how everyone else is doing things, and that just, it's a catalyst for change. And again, you can bring in change to your own organization. So I challenge everyone else to do that as well. But the construction industry is dynamic. It's changing quite frequently and rapidly. And so I'm excited to see where we are in 5 years. It might be significantly different than it is today.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for that nod to acknowledging that as a leader, you are tending to the well-being of your people, right? In terms of an industry that needs to think about well-being. So excited that we have more leaders thinking about this for an industry that very much needs it. Sandra, I know you are day 3 on the job at Procore. So what are you excited about in terms of growing in your career? What are you excited about learning?
Well, I am excited about 2 things. I mean, I think I'm the very best possible place in lots of ways in my career. I think you guys know that I'm on the board of directors of NIBS, National Institute of Building Sciences. It was amazing to get that appointment from President Biden, and my term there starts October 1st for 3 years. And I'm going to be in charge of scholarships. That's going to be part of my role there. So I'm extremely excited about that, and helping us pick the next, where the government, this governmental agency can start to do scholarships, and what types of scholarships. So that's great. But also on the NIBS board, I think construction is changing, sustainability, safety, infrastructure, all of that. So how does the public and the private come together? And where does government and regulation fit in, and where does it not? So that's on that side. On the Procore side, I am extremely excited. It's been my mission in life, at least since I've been in this business, to figure out how do we increase productivity in this industry? And we really haven't. And I asked this question when I was in graduate school. I asked them, why is this? And no professor could answer it for me. And they probably still couldn't. But one of the main reasons is collaboration, everyone all being on the same page. And so I'm really excited about what we can do there. Procore is doing some really great things, obviously, with contractors and subcontractors, but I'm really looking forward to continuing to bring in the more owners and, the smart buildings and sort of the whole operational side from the beginning all the way through, and into a true operational twin. That kind of thing is what I'm looking for, and I'm looking forward to doing that. And lastly, I'm involved in quite a few organizations, specifically for women in construction, but it doesn't have to be just that. But I'm hopeful that I have, that I can share a few things of what's worked, and probably just as, if not more importantly, what hasn't. So I'm at a really great point in my career. So I have so many things that I'm looking forward to doing this time next year. I don't know. We'll see, but that's where I'm at this year.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Sandra and David, we are so grateful for your time, for your openness, and for your ideas today. And we are all so excited about what you will continue to do for the construction industry. So thank you for your time and your wisdom today.
Thank you.
Thank you.